And we are live. Today is 23rd of October and this is OSRA Scrum. Here is Alex, Nick and me. And let's start with... Alex, let's start with you.
I think I missed the whole week of Scrums, so and I haven't really started working on any particular story. I just want to first familiarize with what's happening before I can pick up anything to do.
And why have you missed the whole week?
Pardon?
Why did you miss the whole week?
The whole week I was actually hardly praised for time. Too much work commitments.
Okay. Okay, Nick.
So what did I do today? I communicated with the client through Google Plus, and I got them to accept 2 stories, I think.
Oh, actually, all stories in the resolved.
Is that right?
Oh, that looks nice.
Yeah.
One of them, maybe this isn't showing quite. Oh yeah, right. Okay, so OSRA 184 was already resolved, but when the client looked at it, it turned out that what they think of as sponsor inactivation is setting their status to inactive but on hold. So if the sponsor status is on hold, there is still they can still be involved in active sponsorships. So my code was written differently. So I went back and changed it, and now that's in code review. I merged the pull request that essentially is Motosam's first, the Excel importer, the first part of it. So that's now merged into develop, and there is the second part that I'm going through right now. There is a pull request for it already. I'm going through it and doing code review. I asked Motosam what his schedule is like, and it sounded like he might have some time to work on that story himself. But if not, he said he doesn't mind if I take it over from him. So the coder to address my comments. I'll clone his branch onto my computer and do it myself. What else? I started working on OSRA 181, which is the story where the sponsor's request fulfilled before it was checkbox that the users would check, but not lately. So I started working on it. I think that's it for me.
Nick, how do you link that story to GitHub and Google Plus? It's manually.
Yeah, manually, unfortunately.
But this is very useful.
Yeah, I've been doing it for all the stories that I've been posting to Google Plus. I've been putting the links to those posts on Jira, and I'm still not entirely clear. There's this automatic integration between Jira and GitHub, but it seems to be kind of sometimes. So a few times I've actually pasted the link specifically by hand.
Okay, so what's your forecast about this importer story? Do you think we are able to do it? This sprint.
You know what? The functionality, the second part of it that I'm doing code review on right now, I think that will be merged indefinitely before the client meeting. But I haven't. Nobody's even looked at the third part yet, because the third part is the sum of the. It's the first two parts plus a little bit extra. So it was very difficult to tell what the what was new code and what was old code. So now that the first part is merged in, and once the second part gets merged in, then we can rebase the third part, and then they'll be able to tell exactly how much new code is in there and what needs to be done.
Yeah, but anyway, it's more optimistic than it was 2 days before.
Yeah.
This is our burn down chart, so it's not that bad, actually. We still have some time to work on the stories. Have you met some pretty?
I haven't seen him in a long time.
I've met him on America's Scrum and asked about this story. Let me ask him if he joined. Because I asked him if we should take ownership of it or he will end today. Okay, question. Because it's quite an easy story to do and we can do it easily, but we don't have too much time. We need to discuss it today, and if not tomorrow,
Yeah.
just merge it.
Yeah.
And you're working now on 181, right?
That's right. Yeah, I just started on it today.
Okay. We still have 2 stories.
193 is there's a story in Resolved. It's Craig's story. I'm not sure why it's not showing up. Maybe it's a chore. If you uncheck, no, there's another one. If you deselect stories, Pavel, in the Resolve there was one task that I flagged today. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's it. So,
Nick, I don't hear you. Your voice break. Yeah.
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. So yeah, Craig did. Story was improved for the sponsor, and when the client looked at, they put additional requirements. Me and today accept or reject this story based on the description, and then you may have, we can turn it into a good story. I haven't heard anything back from the so, but I think they're kind of trying to put everything into one story instead of.
But it is even not a story.
But they wanted this.
Nick, what's your voice is interrupted? Alex, for you it's the same or not? Or it's mine connection?
I'm also having the same problem.
I have that too.
Yeah, let me drop out
Nick,
and come back.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a minute,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Is it better now?
Well, yes, I
It
hope
is clear.
Oh,
it is.
all right, good stuff. Okay, so yeah, we're waiting for the client to let us know what's going on with that 106.
Mhm. But I cannot
Okay.
understand. It's not a story. It's chore. What's happened? Like, how can we talk about any requirements if it's a chore? It was just technical work.
Um, well, I'm not sure then what to tell you about it because it was something that the client, it was a change to the views that the client requested specifically. We put it down as a chore because, it was just moving a few things around essentially. Um, but, maybe the good idea then is to put it into done ourselves and then whatever comes out of the discussion that we're having right now becomes a new story.
Hmm. We'll see. Let's now it will be here and resolved, but it's something that we will discuss in retrospective after we will
Mhm.
understand the results. Okay, some pretty haven't joined us. Okay, he said that in 1 hour in OSRA Scrum he will say if we can take over that story or not. Let's wait
Okay.
for tomorrow, and if answer, we just take over this story.
Yeah.
And do it quickly. Okay, Brian.
Hello.
What can you say? Yeah.
I was just wanting to do some pairing on OSRA today, but I'm not sure what to work on or who to work with.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if Nick available for pairing or not. I
Um,
think you.
yeah, not today anymore. It's nighttime for me here.
Yeah. Okay, but Brian, we are waiting for some pretty, and he's still working on this low blank value and sponsor type, and maybe he can work with you on that story. But I still cannot find him in Slack. In America Scrum he was, but then disappeared.
Yeah, Brian, the sad reality is that we don't do as much pairing as we would like. So you might have trouble finding a lot of active pairing sessions.
Is it
If you want to jump in, if you want to sort of get to know the code base, get your feet wet, so to speak, we can try to set up something specifically. But if you're hoping to just kind of catch a pairing session, you might have to wait for a long time before that happens.
Yeah, we have problems with parent sessions, and also due to time differences and circumstances that we have.
so? Can we work on stuff by ourselves if we want to?
Definitely, that's how most of the development is happening, unfortunately.
Oh, well, that's not so bad.
Yeah. The other option would be to do GitHub Pong. So pass commits back and forth between two developers. So it's kind of pair programming, but just not in real time.
Brian, do you have development environment for OSRA installed?
Do I have what?
Environment for OSRA installed.
Yeah, I just got done making one last night.
Ah.
So
Okay.
it's on your machine. It runs. Tests are passing.
Yeah, I got it all working last night. All the RSpec and all the Cucumber pass, and when you start Rails, it works
Okay.
locally.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good stuff. Um, Look, we would love to have you on board, but if pair programming is something that you're really set on, like I said, it might be difficult at the moment.
The pair programming is less important to me than contributing.
Okay, then by all means, let's figure out what story you can take and
Okay,
I was
let's.
just under the impression that it was mostly done by pair programming, but I didn't know.
Well, that's the philosophy of Agile Ventures, is that they try to pair program as much as possible, but we take a sort of pragmatic approach that if we can't pair, we'd rather get some work done than sit and wait.
Yeah, and it's hard being in completely different time zones.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm in the middle of USA. It's 2:19 in the afternoon.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're most, at least half the team is in Europe. Motosim is in Canada, but he hasn't been around that much after he got a job. Alex, where are you?
I'm in South Africa.
Yeah. What's the time there right now?
It's 2 hours ahead of UTC, so it's now just after 9 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we're spread out, and it's difficult to catch each other online, which is why we have our scrums at this kind of unusual time. But yeah, if you
And
if
unless,
yeah.
unless if we can sort of do a special arrangement, because I'm also still trying to familiarize myself with the code base, so pairing would have helped as well. But I don't know the times that we can set up and try to sync the times ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, for me personally, it's hard to predict anything right now. But if you're interested in it, then we can definitely try to arrange, a dedicated session just to, for you to dive into it and have a look around and make sure you understand the code base, at least from the kind of bird's eye view, and then.
That would surely help.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try to organize that then.
Okay. Brian, have you familiar with a code base for some or just installed environment?
Well, I spent a while getting the environment working. Prior to that, I had worked on 116. I helped do 116, so I've looked at it a little bit. I'm not incredibly familiar with it, but it's not completely alien to me.
116.
Yeah, it's right there on the right.
Yeah, it's in the done.
Sponsor start date validation. You worked with Craig, yeah?
Yeah, with Craig and Antonis.
Okay, yeah. Well, okay, let's look what tasks that we have in to do. One, we have refactor orphan feature for clarity.
That wouldn't be a good one for.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Next one, I think RSpec fixtures is not good one too. We have, what about redundancy in sponsor or a low ordering of orphans?
So the redundancy story, that's what I was talking about, Pavel. It's interdependent with that flagged story, what was it, 106. So we need to hear a decision from the client before we can go ahead with it.
And that it allows only this story to talk about only this story. Ordering of orphans by attributes during sponsorship creation, right?
Yeah.
It's an OSRA user, so that I can make better decisions about which orphans to sponsor. I would like orphan list.
I could tackle that.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Brian, how much time do you have to work on stories on project?
I have a while today. I'm not able though. I need to make a login for the Jira.
Yeah, we need
to working on that right now.
Yeah, we need to add you somehow. Pavel, you probably know best how to do that, huh?
Well, I do not have. Oh, I'm not logged in. I'm not administrator of Jira. I'm only administrator of a board, so we need to ask Craig to members. But I now is not logged in here, so Jira board is open.
Is it okay? Oh, yeah.
Yes, I just cannot move the stories or cannot assign them, but you can easily go into this board and choose that story and start working on it. And we can ask Nick, for example, to move that story here. We just, yeah, tomorrow on Saturday we will ask Craig to add you as a member, and we can assign this story for you. But you can read all these things and work on it. That isn't a problem. We have all description here about this story. Yeah. So feel free to ask in channel about this story more and try to do that. But why I'm asking about time commitments for you, that this story is in our current sprint, which we will show to the client on Saturday, right, Nick?
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah.
And I'm not sure that we are able to choose that story ourselves, but if you will start working on it, we, for example, today and then disappear to 2 or 3 days when we will be in a hard situation because we want to know what to do with this story, to do it ourselves or use your code or something like that. So if you take this story, we thinking that you will be able to talk with us during that 2 days and work on it. Yeah. So feel
Yeah,
free to
I
take
can.
it. Yeah.
No, I can do that. I'm for sure. I'm not gonna take it and then disappear.
Okay.
But I'm having trouble getting into Jira. I don't know why it's not letting me create an account or anything.
But you can open that board, right? I open this
Uh,
board. This is public board.
Yeah,
Just,
it should be accessible.
of course, yeah. Just I'll send you a link.
Yeah, I got it in there.
It
If you
was faster. Yeah. It's because my
oh,
laptop.
that did it. Thank you.
all
Yeah.
right, cool.
Yeah. Feel free.
So
Okay.
yeah, you still won't be able to actually do anything, but at least you can see it. And what I'll do right now is I'll take that story 178 and I'll put it in progress.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so feel free to talk in this author channel. It is quite active, and guys discussing there everything we want. Yeah. Okay, guys. Any other questions?
So yeah, I have a little question.
Yep.
This 178. They're talking about
Mhm.
just displaying it, sorting the display in the view, not the actual database table, right?
Yeah, that's right. This is just
Okay. That's what I thought. I just want to be
yeah,
100% certain.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's you know what? Here, let me do this. I'll
Yeah, show the screen, Nick.
yeah.
Show the screen and show this story. So yeah, you'll understand better.
Okay, so we can go to our testing server, and actually, if you take note of this address, this might be useful.
Okay.
So our develop branch automatically gets deployed to here. You always log in with admin@example.com, and
Uh,
password is password.
hey, I'm gonna need to save this. Hang on.
Yep.
Say the user was admin at.
Example.com.
Okay.
All right, and once you're in, if you go to sponsors, pick a sponsor who is active, and there's a button here that says link to orphan. When you click on that, here's a list of orphans that are eligible to be sponsored. And what the client wants is for these orphans to be sortable by, let's say, gender or whether their mother is alive or not. I think they're extra. Yeah, so in the story description, you can see here that the fields that need to be displayed are these.
Okay.
So you need to change the view to add all of these fields to the view.
I'm pretty sure.
And then they just need to be sortable.
That sounds definitely doable.
All right.
Yes, but I think there also was an issue with that story about ordered by previously sponsored and
Yeah, that. Okay, yeah, I remember Craig and I were talking about this. Okay. You know what, actually, Pavel, I would advise to split this story into two. Because this part here, this is exclusively to do with the view. How it's displayed, and this is one end of it. This is how the query gets processed from the database, and that seems like a pretty separate issue to me.
Well, it's true, they were separate, but since we've already do it as one story, and for the client value is the first part of it, with ordering, I don't think we can now split that story.
Okay. Well, in that case, Brian, you were correct in that this part here, the top part, what the client wants is that when you get here, these orphans should already be sorted. And they should be sorted based on these attributes. So this is not just a view that's being sorted. This is how the, as I said, how the database query is sorted.
Okay, just the query, right? Not the data.
Well,
I guess
the
the
database
data wouldn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, the database stays as it is. It's just once you retrieve the data from it, you want to sort it so that it arranges the orphans in this kind of priority.
Yeah. We've discussed that here's maybe some tricks how to do that. So it may need some time to think about how to do better. It is the separate field in the database with priority, or maybe you can do it in the query, and maybe it's better to do it in the query to order it. So it's interesting task actually.
Yeah. How's your SQL, Brian?
Actually, my SQL is far better than my Rails, so.
All right. Well, you're the right man for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Should we need SQL though? That should be doable with Active Record, do you think, or not?
Yeah, I think it is. I think we found Craig and I dug around, and we found there are Active Record methods that do all that for you. You're right.
I mean, just because it can be done in SQL doesn't mean it should be.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I avoid writing raw SQL as much as I can. So, yeah, if you can find the way to do it through Active Record, so much the better.
Okay.
Okay, but if not, do it in SQL for now. Then we will refactor it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's the way to do this story. Okay. Any other question, guys?
I'm good.
Alex?
I'm good. I think I'll only be able to pick a story after Saturday, because most of the free time that I have is during the weekend, so I won't be able to pick a story if you're ending over the week on Saturday.
Okay. Well, guys, then thank you everyone, and see you tomorrow.
All right.
Have a great evening, great day. Okay.
Same to you.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good